What if I told you one of the most powerful financial tools available to Canadian homeowners is also one of the most misunderstood? Hi, I'm Erica V, mortgage strategist, longtime investor, and someone who's been using and teaching strategic wealth building tools like the Smith Maneuver for years. Today, we're talking about the question I get asked more than anything else. Is the Smith Maneuver actually legit? And I get it. If you've only heard whispers about it in forums or read a headline or even asked someone who fully didn't understand it, it can sound too good to be true. So let's break it down calmly, clearly, and accurately. Let's start with what the Smith Maneuver actually is. At its core, the Smith Maneuver is a legal, CRA-compliant financial strategy that allows Canadian homeowners to gradually convert the interest on their mortgage to a tax-deductible investment loan while simultaneously building wealth. Now, here's a simple version. You set up a mortgage that has a re-advanceable line of credit secured to it. Every time you make a regular mortgage payment, your available credit on your line of credit increases. You borrow that available credit and invest it in an income-producing asset. Now that borrowed amount becomes tax deductible because you're using it to generate income. And finally, over time, you build a portfolio while paying down your mortgage. And you may even get tax refunds or savings that can further accelerate your progress. You're not increasing your debt. You're just restructuring it. It's not new. It's not a trend. It's not a loophole. It's a strategy that's been around for decades. It's built on Section 21C of the Income Tax Act, that very same rule that allows business owners, landlords, and investors to deduct the interest on a loan that's used to earn income. Now here's myth number one. It's just a tax strategy. This is probably the most common misunderstanding, that the Smith Maneuver is only useful if you're trying to lower your tax bill. But that's really only one small part of the picture. This is a full financial structure. It helps with long-term portfolio growth, cash flow improvement, retirement planning, reducing your total tax burden over time. You're creating wealth with money you've already borrowed. And best of all, you're becoming an investor before you even think you can. Yes, the tax deduction is powerful, but the real magic comes from the compound growth of the investment you're able to start now instead of waiting. Myth number two, this sounds shady. Now let me be very clear. The CRA is fully aware of this strategy. It is not a loophole. In fact, the Smith Maneuver only works because the rules set out by CRA. There are even court rulings that affirm your ability to deduct interest on money borrowed to invest in income-producing assets. Most important part is you need to do it correctly. Properly structured re-advanceable mortgage, clear investment purpose for the borrowed funds, correct documentation and tracking, annual review with your accountant and your tax professional. This is why it is so important to work with a professional who understands how this works. Myth number three, this is only for the wealthy? No way. In fact, the Smith Maneuver is designed for the average Canadian homeowner. If you have at least 20% equity in your home, and respectfully, you are very good with money, a solid credit profile, a long-term mindset, and a desire to build wealth over time, you might be a great fit. You don't need to earn $300,000 a year. That is not the average Canadian. You just need the right structure, guidance, and a willingness to play the long game. Now, myth number four, it's too risky. Here's the thing, any strategy is risk if done incorrectly. The Smith Maneuver isn't risky when it's set up correctly, when you invest in appropriate diversified assets, you work with qualified professionals, and you understand your cash flow and your risk tolerance. What is risky? Trying to DIY with a regular HELOC and thinking you can get rich quick, that's risky. The Smith Maneuver is a slow, steady strategy. It builds wealth gradually over 15, 20 years. It's not an overnight thing. So if you're looking for fast money, this is not it. But if you're looking for tax-efficient, long-term financial plan, this might be the smartest thing that you ever do with your mortgage. So to be very clear who this is for and who it's not. It's for homeowners with at least 20% equity in their home. It's for people with good credit and stable income. It's for those willing to learn, stay organized, and invest consistently. It is not for those who are uncomfortable with borrowing to invest. And it's definitely not for people who just want a one-size-fits-all solution. I've helped dozens of clients implement the Smith Maneuver. And the most common thing I hear, I wish I had done it sooner. Like the couple in their 40s who used this strategy to unlock $800 a month in investable funds without increasing their monthly cash flow. Or the clients who finally started saving for retirement and felt a sense of freedom for the first time in years. And most recently, I had a couple that came to me that due to unforeseen circumstances, their cash flow just did not allow them to invest any more money. But by implementing the Smith Maneuver, what we were able to do was free up some cash flow, but it didn't have to come from their own pocket. So they were still able to invest, but they didn't have to take it directly from their pocket. It was a game changer for them. The Smith Maneuver is not a gimmick. It's not about gaming the system or adding risky debt. It's about structuring the money you're already spending in a smarter way so you can reduce your tax, build your wealth, and create a more secure future. But this strategy only works when it's tailored to you. So if you're curious whether it's the right fit, then click the big red easy button and let's build your custom plan. Subscribe for more videos like this, drop a question in the comments, and share with someone if they're still wondering if this is actually legit. And I'll see you next week. Mortgage Free with Erica V.